Hi guys, and welcome back to today's video. In the last video, I showed you how to use a tennis ball or a medicine ball to loosen up this hip and glute area and get rid of those trigger points and start some flexibility happening in this area so that you could get rid of your pain in your knees, your hips, and your lower back immediately and get some of that immediate relief. So the second step to that is to go ahead and start strengthening that area. And a lot of the videos out there and the routines out there for glute strengthening and knee exercises are not accessible for a lot of people to do. You have to get the bands to start with, or you have to set up certain exercises or follow along certain papers, and they just don't all make sense. So I wanted to show you a way that you can do some of this strengthening while you're standing, while you're in your normal day-to-day activities. And if you're an athlete, even when you're dealing with sore knees, it's not possible to get down on your knees and do some of these exercises. So a great way to start these is just by standing at your kitchen counter. So I'm going to use a chair today, and you can use a chair if you have a great workout area. But again, you can just start with a desktop or a kitchen counter for a little bit of stability, or even a wall, and you can just add these in as you go about your day. Don't worry so much about the reps and the pacing and the amount of these that you're doing. The better option to think about is, are you getting them in at all? I would rather have you start with just a few as you go about your daily business, and as you get stronger, as long as you're progressing through these exercises, you'll continue to progress. It's when we get caught up in the whole routine of things that we don't end up doing any of it, and then guess what? You're nowhere ahead than where you started. So again, whether you don't have the flexibility, whether you can't get down on your knees, or whether you're just having too much pain to crawl around with the heavy weights and deal with the bands, this is a really great option to just get started. So the first thing we're going to work on is our positioning with our hands. So the very first exercise, we're going to come out to the side with our legs. You just need to have enough room here. And we're going to stay pretty much straight in a line on this one. And you'll see more how that changes as we go through some of the other exercises. But for this one, we're pretty much going to stay straight up in a line. We're going to just bring this toe out to the side and point it. And from there, we're going to lift. So really we're isolating, again, this spot. We talked about this triangle area right here that we were trying to loosen up and into the glutes yesterday. And today we're going to just show how to strengthen this whole entire area. And so we're really focusing on these glutes and these side stabilizers. So I'm just going to do about 10. You get the idea here. So from now, I'm just going to bend this leg slightly, and I'm going to stay in this straight up and down plane, and I'm going to lift out to the side. So again, your range of motion will depend greatly on your flexibility and your strength. So if you can lift all the way up out here, that's pretty good. I'm nowhere close to that, but I'm still going to get a good strengthening back here in these glutes. Okay, and don't forget about the side that you're standing on. You will start to feel these exercises burn in the standing static leg. That's a good thing. If you're really super tight, you may also only feel it in the static leg. And that's just because you don't have the range of motion yet to feel it in the working muscles. So trust me, they are still working. The stronger you get, the more flexible you get. When you keep putting it all together, you'll feel everything come together where you should. So for our next exercise, we're actually going to use the countertop a little bit more. We're going to push the hips back like a deadlift. So the hips go back, the knee is soft, the stabilizing knee is soft, and our spine is straight, ears in line with the spine. At all times, my hands are going to be pretty light on this surface. So we're not using it to lean on by any means. So hands are light, hips come back, and from here, we're going to do a straight leg and a lift. So you can do lots of variations with this lift. If you're really tight, you will naturally toe out anyway. So remember, as you're putting all these pieces together, it's okay to have a little bit of extra movement and not do these motions absolutely perfect. We're just working on that lift and a little bit of toe rotation. And then we're going to take this over to the other side, toe pointed, still pushed back into this left glute, which should be firing up by now, and then lift out. And again, we're getting that slight rotation from the toe pointed to the left to the toe pointed to the right. And as we come up, we're getting all that focus back here in the glute. So as you can see, that didn't take much time, but I tell you what, those glutes are fired up right now. Okay, so we're gonna run through it again on the other side. I'm just going to switch the chair over here, but if you're at the countertop, you would just stay right where you are and switch right to the other side. So we're gonna go ahead and start with that straight up and down, point that toe out to the side and lift. We'll do about 10. Try not to lean over with your shoulders. We don't want to be too far over here. Then we're going to stay straight up and down, bend that toe slightly, and lift here. You can really feel those glutes firing up here. The second side is always a little harder because you've already used that muscle on the stabilizing leg. Okay, then we're going to push back to deadlift. Hands come light, knee is soft on the stabilizing leg, and we're going to lift straight up. So remember, straight up might still have a little bit of external rotation with it. All of these motions are good. If you have the flexibility to go straight back, go straight back. If you have the flexibility that you have to toe out a little bit, toe out a little bit. Both motions are excellent for these muscles. And then the last one, we're going to cross it over, toe pointed to the right, hands are light, push back like you're doing a deadlift. You feel that good burn going on? All right, guys, and come back to the center. Okay, so you can see there's so many different variations to this based on how your hips move and what feels good. So again, I urge you, don't get caught up in the specifics of the movement, but more of the consistency of the movement. As you strengthen and as you work and develop your flexibility, the pieces fall in better together. As you progress on these exercises, though, it's easier. You can take this to so many different progressions. I have a Basu ball here, and if you put that underneath of your stabilizing leg, that is a huge progression to have to balance here and then do these lifts on their own or with a little bit of support, okay? Countertop support, chair support, desk, wall, you name it. The other thing you can do is add bands. Loop them around your thighs, loop them around your ankles, attach them to a door. Get that extra strength and that lift and that progression that way. I love these exercises because they're so accessible for so many different populations. This can be used for a grandmother, a stay-at-home parent, and this can be used really well for beginning athletes. In fact, I use this a ton with our athletes because they've lost this connection to their pelvis and their core because they've lost the flexibility and the range of motion to be able to even activate these muscles to their fullest capacity. So guys, this is just the beginning of everything that you can build upon. And I urge you, do not let sore knees, sore back, lack of flexibility, not being able to crawl around on the floor, not having weights, not having bands, don't let that stuff stop you. Just start where you are and do what's accessible and build on that consistently, and you will see great strength gains. All right, guys, if you loved this video and you want to see more like this, make sure that you like it and subscribe to the channel. And if you want the full routines, the programs that are designed and put together with this kind of stuff incorporated into it as you're strengthening, as you're learning your flexibility, then make sure to join the membership and check that out at the link below. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.